All right, everybody, welcome back. This is TikTok episode number 114, catching up and launching big in 2018, recorded on January 2nd, 2018. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. And it's been almost 3 weeks since the last episode. And I got some people wondering if I was going to abandon the show, so on and so forth, but that's actually far from the truth. So I thought I'd come out of hiding and tell everybody, explain what's going on, and going from there. So anyway, a quick thing here. This is actually my 8th anniversary of my first podcast show ever. Back in December 30th, 2010. How the story went here is I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and she said, well, I need to go do my podcast show. I says, really? You do a podcast? Oh, yeah. And I go to a Blog Talk radio and do that. So anyway, she gave me a link to the show, and I listening on her, and then I realized I had a Blog Talk Radio account I didn't realize I had. So after her show, I started playing around with it, and about an hour later, I kind of put a show on really fast, and didn't think much about it. Just decided to talk for about half an hour, whatever, and it turned out I put it to bed. I think I would be happy with just myself and my friend listening. About a day later, or a day or two later, I checked on the account, and it turned out to be some 50 downloads of my first show. And I'm going, wow! And there's no rhyme reason for that to have happened. So anyway, I started doing these podcast shows and get involved in the Blog Talk Radio community too. I started becoming, a guest on other shows, and ultimately I end up as a regular jockey at a more popular show channel called Caribbean Radio Show. By the way, Dr. Well, hi, how you doing? And I was part of a Tuesday segment where there was a 3 hours segment there, a 3-hour show, live show, and I was one of the 3 hours. And talk about technology naturally, and it turned out that one of the people dropped off. So there's just myself and this other person. And then the other person dropped off, so it turned out to be basically myself for 3 hours. And then Dr. Ed decided that she'd just go ahead and let me run the show there and do things myself. So I had Technology Tuesday for, I don't know, a couple of years, something like that. And I brought my friend Dale Perryman on board as a regular guest, and my Keith Anthony Taylor. Had a bunch of regulars come in here and kind of talk about technology and anything, everything, and got to be pretty popular. Our last show we did was we had like 3,400 live listeners, and more than double that were downloaded in about a week or so afterwards. So we did pretty darn well, considering we didn't know what we were doing. So anyway, I had after the last show, it took about 6 months off, whatever. God bless Dr. Ev for what she wanted to do. My format didn't fit with her rest of the format over there, so we parted mutually. That took time off, and then I decided, you know what, let's go build a real podcast show. That's what you're seeing here with Tech Talk here. The advantage of what's going on here is, like I say, it's a real bona fide podcast show rather than being a Blog Talk Radio. We're actually create the audio, video, and also the YouTube channel too. YouTube's easier. I just uploaded the video, but the audio part of it, I had to host the file, whatever, and promote it, so on and so forth, like a traditional podcast show. And here we are. So anyway, and I did this not because I wanted to have that thousands of people follow me again, but really to help people, because this is one of those mediums that's easy to do, easy to get information from me to everybody else. So like I said, I if you listen to the other shows, I love helping people, and so I did that. So that's my primary reason I keep on doing this stuff. And also, it's usually fun. So, I get to dress up and act like I'm a big Blog Talk, big shot radio jockey every once in a while. Here we are. Anyway, in the past, I've was kind of all over the place. It's technology driven show here, but I didn't really matter too much about what technology I was talking about. One day I could be talking about how frontier communication could be jacking up a bunch of people in California, Texas, and whatever. Another day I could be talking about spammers. So it was very broad based, and it's like I didn't think much about the format or didn't think much about some type of focus. And maybe that's part of the reason why I don't have a whole I don't have the thousands and thousands of visitors like I did before, or the listeners before. And it's okay. However, things have changed in 2017. Here's a big thing. You see lots of prosperity going on, lots of small business owners really becoming more successful this last year. Okay, I'm going to leave the politics out of it. Just plain the fact is the economy is getting much, much better. And so there's been many, many years of stagnation, and lots of business owners are now getting ahead to the point they need to go fix some stuff. And a lot of the stuff they're looking at, they're seeing some of the competitors really taking off like crazy, getting way ahead. And the simple reason is they're online better than others. Okay, so you see a lot of business owners, they want to get their website back together. They want to drive more customers to the business. They want to expand into new markets. They want to use the internet as effective tools. Many just plain want to get online. Without getting screwed, because there's a lot of scrupulous people in this industry here. In fact, let me tell you a little story about a client. It's been a couple years since we started and first got introduced. So anyway, this gentleman, he had I'm going to keep it kind of anonymous here. He had a business for a long time, and he had gone naturally to the phone book company for the advertisers for a very long time. We're talking, he's been in business for over 30 years. So he'd been around since before the internet was around. So it was natural to go there. And he had a good relationship with those folks, supposedly. And it came around time to do website stuff. So the phone book company kind of gave him a bill of goods. Oh, yeah, we do the website stuff. And it costs you this much, and then we'll put you on our blah, 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 yellow, blah, blah, blah.com. And so you'll get more customers that way. So it did that, thinking that was the right way to doing it. And didn't think much about the being charged over $200 a month just for website hosting. And it was pretty brutal. He didn't realize that at the time, because that's the way it was. And this is just internet stuff, had nothing to do with the phone book ads. So anyway, it came time. It was pretty obvious that the phone book ads were not pulling business like they are, and pretty much everybody knows that now. Nobody really uses phone books anymore. Uses Google and everything else. So he started revisiting the phone book company. He says we need to think about doing more internet advertising, and their response was not very good. They said, well, we got this SEO thing going on. Didn't really explain that very well, but it was going to cost way up there. Something like $500 to $1,000 more per month just for that. It didn't sound like they knew what they were doing. And this is certainly out of the price range. And then on top of that, he started thinking he needs to take his website someplace else. And that's where they got some abrasions from his company he's been working with for a long time. This is where I kind of came around here. We had mutual friends. They got a hold of me, and we started doing a discovery interview and found out all this stuff was going on. I found out further that the phone book company was squatting on the guy's domain. He actually didn't own the domain. And so we did some finagling back and forth, finally got the domain back, but they wouldn't let go of the website. So ultimately turned out to be a big mess to clean all that up. But ultimately I saved this gentleman lots of money, because had he gone on, he would have been spending thousands of dollars have he just gone on with the phone book company. So anyway, how this kind of gets back to all this here is there's quite a need to address stuff like that more directly rather than just talk about everything in the world of technology. So I'm going to refocus Tech Talk, the show here, to be more in business development, online marketing, helping business owners succeed. And so it starts off with a few things. First of all, I'm going to the tutorial I have on the website, Prime Concepts, of free and almost free ways to advertise online. I'm going to update that with more updated strategies and start discussing more advanced strategies on that, and as an update, overall update to that, so we can provide a really good foundation for businesses from going from zero to successful, even more successful, through the tutorial there. And also we're going to get into discussing case studies, details on how we've helped certain clients succeed, and provide examples which may help other business owners succeed as well. So, and ultimately, all this is going to be free, by the way, as usual, because I've seen too many in this industry charge way too much for information that's dated or irrelevant or doesn't work. I even got a situation where some folks stole my stuff too. In fact, another quick story here. I had a colleague created this $1,200 seat in a marketing seminar. What he would do, he would rent a boardroom out for a Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and charge about a dozen people like $1,000 or $1,200 to show them how to succeed on the internet. And I had a mutual friend, a client of his, and I put this guy up. I never went to his seminars because I didn't want to pay him $1,200 for that. But this one gentleman went to this seminar and then came back to me, and then we did a discovery interview, and he just told me he wasted $1,200 on the seminar. And I didn't know what it was at the time. And he said, and about half an hour, I explained everything that this other guy did. It took 2 days. And I'm going, really? I started getting further into it. I found out it was a friend of mine that took my stuff and resold it. So I was the one that showed him how to do all this. So anyway, so I'm going to, again, my ultimate objective through all this stuff here is to help people. Okay, and if I do well doing that, then those folks would want to do business with me. That's kind of my mode of operation here. So anyway, so we're getting back to basically the objective of helping other business owners to see it online, for newbies to online people new to online marketing, and to seasoned pros who want to up their game. So anyway, so it's going to take a little bit to steer the ship. That's the reason why I've kind of been offline for a few weeks, to try to reorient all this stuff here. So I've been working on a new format for a few weeks here, and it's going to be a lot pretty soon here, within the next week or two. And so in the meantime, so that's what's been kind of going on here. And so I'm sorry I've been gone for a couple weeks. I figured the downtime during the holidays would be beneficial, and it kind of works out that way. And but anyway, you'll see me back up and going here pretty soon with a completely new format, new objectives, and a new drive to help more business owners out there. So anyway, in the meantime, I want to thank you folks for hanging out with me on the podcast show and the YouTube channel, and I very much appreciate it. If it wasn't for you, this is what you folks out there calling me up and say, "Hey, Dan, thanks a lot for the information," or this, that, the other thing, had a question. That was what motivates to keep me going and doing these shows and make the show better. That's the reason why I'm making all these changes here. So again, thanks again for listening and watching, and you'll be hearing me again from me very soon. And in the meantime, you have a wonderful 2018, and good luck and God bless to your online success, or Godspeed. We'll see you later.